The following are pulled from the journal of a man in the late 1800s. They recount his brief encounter with a monster that still roams the American Midwest. Thursday, June 5th, 1890. Pa finally passed. Consumption got him in the twilight hours. Seemed he was almost awake till the end, but that blank stare told me something different. He just kept hacking and coughing. Can't recall when I stopped wiping the blood from his face. Just stared back at him, nothing like as he did me. Wonder if he even knew the pain he was in. Hell, I feel guilty, but at least I stayed there till the end. Maria long since left with her John Doe as soon as everything started going to shit. Laura hasn't ridden back from California for God knows how many years. Glad Ma ain't around to see how this family fell apart. Pray she ain't watching down from heaven either, or what use would there be calling it such a place? Well, I snuck onto our old property and buried him off in the woods somewhere. It was sloppy work. I ain't ever dug a grave before. Tried to smooth it out as much as I could lest anyone came looking. I like to think maybe Pa would have been happy to be back there. Now that he's gone, I feel an emptiness that maybe family could have filled. But no more. I think I'll get soon. Heard news of a gold rush in the Colorado territory. Close enough it is. And sure, it's in my blood. Figure I'll give it a go. Saturday, June 6, 1890. Lot of firsts today. First time I've ever been out of my birthplace. First time I've ever been on a train. Seen the land fly by like that. They say they're faster than a horse. I believe it. Almost would have paid for it too, weren't it so easy to sneak on. That one was a first as well. Can't help but think about how hard it must have been for Pa to get out here before all these rails got put up. Sure makes us all look soft by comparison. But, I don't know my way around horse or anything such but my own 2 feet. Would say I'm real thankful for this train. Passed a mighty long time speaking with a stranger now turned friend. Older gentleman, coming for the same reason as I. Left his family to tend the homestead while he went to try for some gold. Said I reminded him of a son of his. Lucky me. Wouldn't it have been for his kindness, well, train nearly took us to the edge of Colorado territory, but I'd be walking the rest otherwise. Got a place in his wagon he rented to keep him company. Said it'd be another week or so till we got to the spot. Can't imagine doing that on foot. Maybe I didn't think things through, but I guess they worked themselves out. For this, too, I'm grateful. Hope I can make Pa proud. Tuesday, June 9th, 1890. Things sure have been a hell of a lot more brown out here. Just dry, flat ground. Far as we go. Knew the country was big, but all just seems to be one big flat big. Anyhow, we met a real character today. At least we heard tell of him, saw him yonder. Had been seeing the ass end of a large caravan all day. Before we got up with them, midday one of their men rode out to see us. Told us, for our own safety, we ought to steer wide around their group or hold back. Could tell he meant no threat though. Was quite a smiling fellow. Was eager to fill us in on the why when we made our faces confused about what he had said. Said the caravan ahead of us was being led by a man named Timothy Walton. Said they had a monster with them and it weren't safe for anyone to come too close. Also said we'd get our chance at seeing it in action were we to stop by at the next town. The old gentleman wasn't having any of it. Think I actually did all the talking. Didn't seem like he had one kind thing to say to being commanded like that. told me he wasn't up to waiting on anyone, but I convinced him otherwise. I needed a real bed, and reckon he did too, so we stopped in town earlier this evening. Cost a pretty penny, but best bed I've had in a long while. That monster caravan hunkered down not far off from the town edge. I'll give them a visit tomorrow, see what kind of circus act they're fitting to put up. Wednesday, June 10th, 1890. That caravan got a few too many eyes on it for me to get in close, but I got to speak with the same fellow who rode out to greet us yesterday. Said he let a bit too much slip then. Tried to bribe me to forget, but with a few drinks in him, I got him spilling even more information. Can't say I believe it though. Think I know when I'm being duped. But his story's sure gonna keep me staying in this town a bit longer. The way he put it, the leader of their caravan, Timothy Walton, he'd bought a monster off a man who'd had brought some monster over from the Far East. Land called Zipangu. Said it were invisible to the eye from far, and that's why we couldn't see it poking up over their caravan. The way he put it, we should see it towering over the town had we so much as stepped a foot out of the saloon. But it only turns visible up close. Horse shit, I say. But it was fun to hear him talk about it. Fellow told me their caravan would be putting some outlaws out of it tomorrow. If all goes well, he says it'll be like Timothy Walton will have some divine power to smite the criminals with nothing but a wag of his finger. I told him a gun could do the same, but he promised me it would be worth my time to see the executions. Thursday, June 11th, 1890. Hell, I saw it. Well, not the monster, but the result. It was all real. Still don't feel like it though. Saw Timothy Walton for the first time, pointing at a group of men on the gallows, and a moment later, loud crash. Part of the gallows and the top half of the men were all gone. It was just their legs left. All slumped like, falling over each other as if they never had a top to begin with. Wasn't horse shit after all. But the crowd weren't close enough that I could have thought that anyone saw the real thing that I knew was behind it all. They all just got to yapping and gasping over it. Swear I heard something over it all though. I like the faint hollow ring of a church bell in the distance. The old gent just kept shouting it was the devil's magic. I don't think I can let this one go though. The old gentleman's packing up already, wants to head out of town ahead of that caravan, but I'm gonna have to tell him I have other plans. Gotta see that thing. Gotta get some kind of look at it after what I saw today. Saturday, June 13th, 1890. I saw it last night, the real thing. Just for a moment. I saw that thing and I'm still alive to write about it. I can't say the same for most of Walton's caravan though. Should have known something was up, being how easy we were to sneak in last night. That monster caravan had more than a small set of eyes the day prior. It wasn't until I heard the groaning of a man in the night that I started to notice. Well, bits and pieces were missing to all their wagons. Further I got in, worse it got. Saw a few bodies looking just like what happened at the executions the other day. Found a man missing an arm. Thanked God I came by. Had all tied up with rope, shirt stained quite red. Told me the monster had broken loose and set about eating at the caravan. I had heard their hollering prior in the night, but hadn't headed up until it all died down. Figured they'd just been having a good old time. Well, the man begged me to get help, but he also pointed out into the plains where their monster had wandered off to. Can't say I'm too proud of it, but promised the man to get help and went the other way. Eventually I did get back to town for him, but Couldn't let that monster get too far off. Thought it might just be my last chance to see it. Let me tell you, it was worth it. Hadn't got more than a few 100 feet out when I heard that hollow bell ringing out again. Heard it a few times and kept getting closer. Then I looked up. It was like it had always been there. Just never saw it till that moment. It were a skeleton rising up so many men above me, blotted out the stars. Hunched right over me, teeth stained a dark red. Knew in that moment it was either move or meet the same fate as Walton and his crew. So I did. Damn thing was faster than I thought, teeth and jaw and all falling on me almost like a hammer. But I sure got away, and I ain't ever hoping to see that thing again. Big as it was, and invisible like that up until it got close. Hell of a thing to let loose in the frontier. Figure the bandits and all the disease was enough as it were. Ah, well, at least I got a story to tell out of all of it. The monster encountered in this story is the giant man-eating skeleton, Gasha Dokuro. It is a spirit, or yokai, that hails from the island of Japan. This journal references one of the many accounts of smuggling away the country's native spirits, as was popular in the late 1800s since America's forced ending of Japan's self-imposed isolation. While many yokai have been returned to their proper homeland, the Gasha Dokuro is a wandering, near-mindless, and insatiable invisible beast that proves quite hard to track. If you are ever in the American Midwest and hear the faint chime of a bell, please be cautious. The Gasha Dokuro may be closer than you think.